Have you ever wondered why you're working harder than ever, making more money than you ever have in your life, yet somehow your bank account is emptier at the end of every month than it was when you made half as much? Stop what you are doing right now. Because what I am about to reveal over the next few minutes is going to shatter everything you thought you knew about your own money, and if you miss even a single second of this, you are almost guaranteed to stay trapped in a financial prison without even realizing you build the bars yourself. Meet Alex and Sarah. On paper, they are the American dream. Alex is a senior software engineer, Sarah is a corporate marketing manager. Their combined household income sits at a jaw dropping $150,000 a year. They live in a gorgeous, sunlit two-bedroom apartment in the trendiest part of the city. They drive a brand new leased BMW that turns heads at every stoplight. They dine out at high-end restaurants 4 nights a week, and they take two major luxury vacations every single year, skiing in Aspen in the winter, lounging in Tulum in the summer. To the outside world, they have won. But behind closed doors, total absolute panic. Because here is the secret they hide from their friends, their families, and social media. As of this morning, Alex and Sarah have exactly $4,192 left to their name in total savings. Across all accounts, they are one missed paycheck away from complete financial catastrophe. They are living on the absolute edge of a cliff, sprinting on a treadmill that never stops, earning more than ever, yet secretly drowning. And the most terrifying part, they have absolutely no idea why it is happening. If that sounds uncomfortably, chillingly familiar to your own life, lean in very close. Because today, we are exposing the silent, invisible financial predator that is currently bankrupting millions of high earning households across the US: lifestyle inflation. By the time this video ends, you aren't just going to understand why your hard earned cash vanishes into thin air. You're going to look at your bank account with a completely different perspective, armed with the exact psychological and tactical blueprint to break free permanently. But to get there, we need to go back to where the nightmare actually started. Let's rewind exactly 5 years. Back then, Alex and Sarah weren't making $150,000. They were pulling in a combined $65,000. They lived in a tiny, cramped one-bedroom apartment with squeaky floors and a view of a brick wall. Their car was a dented 10-year-old Honda Civic with a broken AC, and you want to know a shocking truth? They were happier back then. Back on $65,000, they actually had a system. Every month, they diligently tucked away $300 into a high-yield savings account. They were actively building a down payment for a starter home. They budgeted every grocery trip, cooked every meal at home, and slept soundly through the night because they didn't owe a single penny of credit card debt. They thought money was their problem. They thought if only we made six figures, all our stress would vanish forever. That was their first fatal mistake. Because money doesn't solve financial stress if your habits are broken. Money only magnifies who you already are. Then, the turning point arrived, the moment every working professional dreams of. Alex crushed his performance review and landed a massive promotion, pushing his salary to $90,000. 2 months later, Sarah bagged a corporate ladder jump of her own, bringing her income to $60,000. Combined, they crossed the sacred threshold, $150,000 a year. The day that first fat paycheck hit their joint account, champagne corks popped. They went out to an expensive steakhouse to celebrate. They toasted to their hard work. They whispered to each other, "We finally made it." And in that exact second, without them even realizing it, a silent trapdoor opened beneath their feet. It didn't happen overnight. It wasn't a reckless, stupid gamble on crypto or a Vegas trip that wiped them out. No, the deadliest traps are never loud. They are quiet, seductive, and disguised as rewards. It started with a casual conversation on a Saturday morning. "Babe," Sarah said, sipping her artisanal latte, "look at our apartment. The floors creak, the kitchen is the size of a closet, and we're making 150K now. We've earned a little comfort. Don't you think we deserve better?" Rational, right? Who could argue with that? So they packed up and moved into a luxury high-rise apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows, a rooftop pool, a modern gym. Their rent skyrocketed from $1,200 a month to $2,400 a month. Just like that, an extra $1,200 vanished into thin air every 30 days. Did they feel richer? For about 2 weeks, yes. Then came phase two. One rainy Tuesday evening, Sarah stared out the window of their high rise at her old, reliable Honda Civic parked on the street. It suddenly looked pathetic next to the sleek Teslas and BMWs in the garage. My car is embarrassing for someone in my position, she muttered. By the weekend, they were at a luxury dealership. 3 hours later, she drove out in a brand new leased BMW. Translation: a brand new $600 monthly car payment, plus $250 a month for premium insurance because of her zip code. Another $850 is gone before she even turned the ignition key. And Alex? Well, Alex figured, hey, we're working 60-hour corporate weeks. Who has time to chop vegetables, prep meals, and wash dishes? So, the grocery bill changed. Cooking at home stopped. Uber Eats became a daily ritual. Morning lattes delivered, lunch bowls delivered, gourmet dinners delivered. Their monthly food expense went from $400 to a staggering $1,200. Vacations? Budget motels and Spirit Airlines were officially banned. It was boutique hotels, business class upgrades, and Instagram worthy beach resorts. Let's pause right here. Let's look at the brutal math. Within 12 short months, their income went up by $85,000. But their expenses? Their expenses went up by $95,000. Read that again. They were spending $12,500 a month on a $12,500. Gross income. Once taxes took their massive bite, Alex and Sarah were actually running at a net loss every single month. To bridge the gap, what did they do? They pulled out a piece of plastic from their wallet, a little rectangle of convenience, a credit card. We'll just pay it off next month when the bonus hits, they told themselves. Famous last words. Within a year, that temporary bridge turned into a raging river of debt. They were carrying a $15,000 balance on credit cards, charging a brutal 22% interest rate. Every single month, hundreds of dollars of their hard-earned money went straight into the pockets of bank shareholders just to pay the interest on things they had already consumed, forgotten, or driven past. They were trapped in what economists call the golden handcuffs. They looked rich, they drove rich, they ate like the upper class. But underneath the expensive clothes and the luxury address, they were one missed corporate layoff away from total bankruptcy. Why? Because of the psychological disease of lifestyle inflation. Human beings have an infinite capacity to absorb more money. No matter how much you make, your brain will instantly find a way to spend it if you don't build psychological and structural walls to stop it. A raise doesn't feel like an increase in wealth. To our primitive brains, it feels like an upgrade in our baseline of survival. I worked hard, I deserve this. It is the single most dangerous sentence in personal finance because yes, you do deserve nice things. You worked hard, but every single time you choose your present comfort over your future security, you are stealing from your future self. You are trading your ultimate freedom for a temporary illusion of status. And the worst part, Alex and Sarah didn't even realize they were digging their own graves until the walls started closing in. One Friday afternoon, an email pinged inboxes across their company. Mandatory restructuring, department-wide budget cuts. Alex froze. Blood drained from his face. His heart slammed against his ribs like a trapped bird. For the first time in his life, a terrifying thought crossed his mind. What if I get laid off? And instantly, his brain calculated the reality. With only $4,000 in savings and a monthly burn rate of $12,000, if he lost his job today, they would be completely broke, evicted, and ruined in less than 3 weeks. He couldn't quit. He couldn't take a mental health break. He couldn't start that side business he always dreamed of. He was chained to his desk, a slave to his own lifestyle. That night, they didn't order Uber Eats. They sat at their kitchen table in absolute silence, staring at a stack of collection letters and credit card statements. Sarah was crying softly. Alex was staring blankly at the wall, feeling like a complete failure. They had reached rock bottom, and it was at that exact moment that they made the decision that changed everything. They realized that waiting for a higher salary was a trap. The only way out was to completely rewrite the rules of how they interacted with money. They booked an emergency consultation with a seasoned financial mentor, someone who didn't sell mutual funds or insurance, but someone who understood the psychology of wealth. The mentor didn't tell them to stop living. He didn't tell them to lock themselves in a room and never buy a cup of coffee again. Instead, he gave them a harsh, unvarnished truth and a 3-step battle plan that felt almost revolutionary. If you are listening to this right now and feeling that familiar knot in your stomach because your bank account looks a little too much like Alex and Sarah's, listen closely. Write this down because this is where your life changes. Step number one, the golden rule of wealth reversal. For your entire adult life, you have been doing math the wrong way. You take your paycheck, you pay your landlord, you pay the car dealership, you pay the credit card companies, you buy your groceries, you pay your streaming subscriptions, and then at the very end of the month, if and only if there is anything left over, you save it. The mentor told Alex and Sarah, you're paying everyone else in the world first and paying yourself last. You're treating your own financial freedom as an afterthought. The rule of the wealthy is radically simple, yet almost nobody does it. Pay yourself first. The moment your income hits your account, before you pay a single bill, before you touch a single dollar of rent, a fixed percentage must automatically be skimmed off the top and moved into an untouchable account. Automated, cold, heartless. For Alex and Sarah, the mandate was brutal. 20% of every single dollar they earned vanished into an emergency fund and a low-cost index fund portfolio before they even saw it. They were forced to learn how to survive on the remaining 80%. Step number two, the brutal reality audit. Needs versus wants. They had to look at their bank statements from the last 90 days with a highlighter. Not to judge themselves, but to hunt down the leaks sinking their ship. And the numbers didn't lie. They found they were spending nearly 50% of their income on things that brought them zero lasting happiness. They made painful, courageous choices. They broke the lease on the luxury high-rise, taking a temporary social hit from their friends, and moved into a clean, modest, slightly smaller apartment, cutting the rent right back down to $1,400. They sold the status symbol BMW, paid off the remaining lease penalty with a small cash buffer, and bought a rock-solid, reliable pre-owned Toyota Camry with cash. Gone was the $800 monthly bleeding wound. They didn't stop eating out entirely, because deprivation always leads to a massive binge later, but they slashed it down to once a week. Sarah discovered a passion for cooking gourmet meals at home, turning it into a fun day night instead of a chore. Step number three, building the fortress of solitude. They targeted the high-interest credit card debt with the debt avalanche method, throwing every extra penny at the 22% interest monster until it was completely dead and buried. And then they built the holy grail of financial safety, the Freedom Fund. 6 full months of bare bones, essential living expenses, sitting safely in a high-yield savings account, generating 5% interest completely passively. Fast forward exactly 24 months later. Picture this. Alex and Sarah are sitting on the porch of a brand new home, not a rented high-rise, but a modest, beautiful starter house that they actually own a piece of. Let's look at their dashboard today. Their emergency fund is fully loaded at $30,000 cash. Their credit card balance, zero. Not a single cent of bad debt to their name. Their investment portfolio in low-cost index funds has crossed $40,000, compounding quietly in the background while they sleep, work, and live. Most importantly, the terror is gone. When Alex logs into his work portal now, he doesn't feel the cold sweat of panic. If his company laid him off tomorrow, he wouldn't even blink. He has 6 months of runway. He has choices. He has power. They are no longer trapped in the rat race of trying to impress people they don't even like with money they don't actually own. They broke the matrix. And here is the ultimate truth of this entire story. The enemy of your financial life is not your boss. The enemy is not inflation or the economy or taxes. The enemy is sitting right inside your mirror. It is the silent creeping inflation of your lifestyle that tricks you into trading your freedom for an image. So here is my challenge to you. Right now, as this video comes to a close, do not close this app and go back to scrolling. Take control today. Open your banking app. Look at your last 3 months of spending with ruthless honesty. Ask yourself, what is one single luxury, one status symbol, or one mindless habit am I willing to slaughter this week to buy back my freedom? Drop your answer in the comments below right now. I read and reply to every single one of you. If this story shook you awake, hit that like button hard so the YouTube algorithm pushes this wake-up call to someone else who desperately needs to hear it today. And if you want to master your money, build true wealth, and never be trapped again, hit subscribe and ring that notification bell. Your future self is begging you to make the right choice today. Thank you for watching, stay disciplined, and I will see you in the next video.